All right, Nick, let's talk about the New England Patriots. We're looking at OTAs, we're looking at minicamp, we're seeing who is looking good. And there's one guy in particular for the New England Patriots who has really started to impress. Let's get into the article and we can talk more about it on the other side. This, of course, is over from NESN.com. It says Patriots second round receiver Jaheim Polk was the best wideout on the field during New England's first mandatory minicamp session at Gillette Stadium on Monday. Polk, who was relatively quiet during the team drills and prior to open to media sessions, caught 3 passes with a pair of touchdowns. He got 1 pass each from Jacoby Brissett, Drake May, and Bailey Zappi. Said the good thing about a lot of our young guys is they're understanding what we're asking them to do, Brissett said after practice. Polk, for example, he's making so many plays in the red zone today, big, strong catches, and that's what we need him to do. He's starting to do that on a consistent basis, and his level in this offense is going up. And I said there's one guy, Nick. There's actually more than one guy who's impressing. Let's flip over to the other story, and then I want to hear your thoughts on these afterwards. So this is from 32 beat writers on Twitter. It says Jaheim Bell is starting to find his footing. Bell caught a perfectly placed rocket up the seam from May 4-6. Bell's speed to run the seam has become more apparent with each rep. Although it's early, Bell could be a day 3 gem, very versatile, athletic, and intriguing player. I think these are perfect things to hear if you're a New England fan. Sounds like you've got a pair of weapons in Polk and Bell. Nick, I'm curious what your thoughts are on these guys, but Patriots fans, in the comment section below, talk about Playmaker. Talking about a running back who's really was like tight end running back receiver hybrid in college. Talking about Polk, very dynamic receiver. Who's your favorite New England dynamic playmaker throughout history? There's a lot of pass catching running backs out there, a lot of great receivers as well. Let us know, though, who are your favorites in the comment section below. And Nick, also, we're reminding everyone, we've got a list of some of our favorite football books in the description under the video. If you want to be the smartest amongst your friends, if you want all of the football knowledge that we love, check out the list of books in the description below the video. But Nick, what are your thoughts on these playmakers for the Patriots?
Well, Miles, you kind of threw a curveball, right? You said there was only one rookie playmaker who was making impressive moves at OTA so far, talking about Polk. And you said, well, actually, there's a second one, and of course, Bell. But I'll tell you what, there's actually 3 because Javon Baker, he was a guy that's been doing really great up to this point as well. Polk was the guy, there was some concern in New England, like, hey, why is it taking him so long to really get a hold of things and learn the offense? And look, some guys, it takes a little longer than others. It looks like it has caught up to Polk. He's making big plays, especially in the red zone. I love that from a young receiver because that's obviously a more condensed, complicated area. If you can make plays in the red zone early in your career, it usually means you understand spacing and concepts at a level that should translate to the rest of the field. So that's a great sign from Polk. But we already know Baker's great. Jaheim Bell making plays. I mean, the Patriots, who last year I felt like they didn't have any playmakers on offense. They obviously had a few guys, but it was just a struggle. They've got 3 really young new playmakers they've added to this offense through the NFL draft. And I tell you what, New England fans, just the seismic shift about this offense from 2023 into 2024, you've got to be really impressed by this because there's going to be some ugly games. There's going to be some ugly reps when you have players this young. But this does remind me of the early 2021, 2020 era Cincinnati Bengals when they added Joe Burrow into the fold. They added T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, all these young playmakers. And then when it just clicked, suddenly they were the best team in the AFC North, one of the best teams in football, right? I think the Patriots are setting themselves up down a similar trajectory. They've got a bunch of young guys that are coming, growing, learning together with their young franchise quarterback in Drake May. It's one of those things where it's OTAs. You try to hold back your excitement, try and temper it somewhat because look, it's the training camp hasn't even started yet. Preseason games haven't started yet, right? There's a lot of things that could happen and will happen over the upcoming weeks and months. But if you look at where the Patriots currently sit with not one, not two, but 3 dynamic, explosive, productive young offensive playmakers entering into the fold, and it's only June, these guys are only going to get better, right? You start strong, you usually continue that through the offseason. And this is a Patriots offense that's going to surprise a lot of people. We know the defense is going to be good, especially with Gonzalez and Judon healthy, right? Those injuries were devastating last year. Offensive line has some questions. There's no denying that. But when you look at the skill positions on offense, what they've done this offseason through the draft, whether it's earlier round guys like Polk, middle round guys like Baker, or day 3 steals like Jaheim Bell, it's undeniable. The New England Patriots are completely different offense. They're so much more explosive and so much more talented, and it's because of these 3 new young guys making a big name for themselves.
Yeah, Nick, and I think this is really going to help the Patriots offense as a whole because I think of guys like Juju Smith-Schuster. He's a great player, but I think when all of the pressure is on Juju Smith-Schuster's back to say, "Hey, go out and do everything on your own," he kind of falters a little bit when that happens. But when you add these guys in the mix, when there's more threats on the field, I think that opens a guy up like Juju Smith-Schuster. So I see a bigger year from Juju. You got Hunter Henry and you got Austin Hooper at the tight end positions. 2 guys, very talented. Jaheim Bell, he's listed as a tight end on this Patriots roster, but in college, he was actually a running back to start. Then he started catching passes. So I think this is another guy that you can truly throw in the mix, in that H-back position, a guy who can really mix up, be that kind of offense opener that we talk about sometimes, just a playmaker all around the field. I think that's going to be interesting. Then you got Kendrick Bourne left over as well. I think the Patriots offense is really going in a great direction, and I love how there's guys that are going to be complementary to each other. Jalen Polk, I think, is going to be a great receiver. Do I think he's the number 1 guy right now? No, probably not, but you put him on the field with Kendrick Bourne and Juju Smith-Schuster, I think that opens things up a lot because now you have 3 dynamic guys on the field. Juju starts to feel a little bit less pressure, play like himself, be that great playmaker that we know he can be. I really like what we're seeing from the Patriots. I'm excited for the first time in a long time to say this Patriots offense is looking pretty dangerous.